Hi Stampers, this is Annette from stampwithannette.com, and today I want to share with you how to make this card. It's just a fun little Halloween card. So let's just get started. The base of the card is what we'll begin with, and I've already trimmed this end, but I started with a piece of cardstock that was 5.5 by 7.5, and I scored it at 3 3/4. Fold on that score line, and this is pumpkin pie cardstock. Then I need my magnetic platform and 2 cutting plates. And then we're using the Ovals Collection framelits. We're going to use this one. It is the second largest that is not scalloped. And to cut just this end, I'm going to slip my cardstock through the framelit. And then just center that, and I want it close to the edge because I don't want to cut off very much. So I'm going to get it as close to the edge as I can and still cut some off. And then just try to make it even around there. I don't want to apply pressure on this part. If I do, then it won't cut it because the cutting edge is underneath my cardstock, but it would leave an impression of that oval framelit there, and I don't want to see that on my card. So to eliminate that, when I put the top plate on there, I'm only going to put it to right there. Then there's only pressure applied on this top part and not here, so I won't get that extra embossing mark. So I'm going to run that through the Big Shot and be right back. All right, then I just have this piece that's cut off and no embossed lines from the other edge of the framelit, and now I have a card that's curved on both sides. The next thing I need to do on the base of the card is add the embossing, and I used the wood grain embossing folder. And once again, I only want the front of the card, so I only want to do part of the card on here, kind of like I did with the cutting where I only wanted to cut part of it. This time I only want to emboss part of it. So I'm lining up the edge of the embossing image here with the score mark. So the embossing, you can see there's a little edge there that does not emboss. I'm going to line that up with my score line, and then I'm moving it over fairly close to the edge of the cardstock. Okay, so now I'm going to emboss this part, and this time I will use the multi-purpose platform, and I'm not going to use any of the tabs. I'm going to open it all the way up. And I'll need 1 cutting plate there, and then I'm going to turn it this way. This time my cutting plate, I'm going to put the edge of the cutting plate, actually the edge of the beveled part of the cutting plate, I don't know if you can see the very edges beveled a little bit, which helps the Big Shot grab it to pull it through, but then there's not embossing. There won't be embossing all the way to the edge of the plate. So at the edge of that bevel, I'm going to put to the edge of the embossing area on the embossing folder. Hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to line that up there and run it through the Big Shot just like this. So I'll be back. All right, so you can see I got it lined up pretty well, so the embossing stops right at that score line, but I still have this section that's not embossed. So I need to do that again to get this side. And I'm just going to, it will just re-emboss this middle part, and that'll work just fine. And that's one of the reasons I am not using any tabs. The embossing won't be quite as deep as if you use the tabs, but it also will not break down the paper quite as much, the paper fibers. All right, I've lined up the edge of that bevel with the edge of the embossing again, and I'm going to run that through the Big Shot. All right, there we go. You really can't even tell where it was embossed twice. It just re-embossed the paper. The paper is a little bit more fragile, so you do want to be a little careful when you're working with it. And when I'm sponging, which is what we're going to do next, the paper can tear easily because you've just broken up the fibers in there quite a bit. So I've just got the pumpkin pie stamp pad and a little bit of a sponge, and I'm just going to rub. Actually, I don't need the middle part because that's going to be covered up, so I'm just going to do the edges here. And I'm just rubbing the sponge over the embossed image so that it will be a little more defined. And my Stampin' Sponges, I like to just cut up into at least 4 pieces. I think this one I probably did 6. Then I want to do all of the edges, so I'll just sponge the edges a little bit. And for this I'm going to do all the way around, because you won't be able to see some of that edge. Okay, get that out of the way. There's my card. So that's the base of my card. Then to add the other, so that it looks like a pumpkin, I cut out 3 more ovals with the same framelit and ran those through with the wood grain embossing folder. So I've got 3 ovals, and this particular framelit it's the one that's right about 4 inches wide when you measure it this way. So I cut those out, I sponged around the edges, sponged a little bit of ink all over the top, and then we're just going to start putting those on the card base. And I'll just start with one. I like the Tombow when there's this much texture. The Tombow will hold it well. And I'm just going to start on one side, and I want my ovals to be lined up with the bottom edge of the card. So I'm just going to line it up right there, and it will stick up off the top of the card. That's just kind of the way I designed it. So, all right, there's one. Let's put one on the other side. Just try to get this one about the same distance from the opposite edge. So move it over a little bit, but still lined up here at the bottom. There we go. And it doesn't have to be exact. Pumpkins aren't exact. So, all right, this last one then, we'll just get some adhesive on there. And then I'm just going to center this one right there in the middle, but still even with the edge as much as possible. Glue that down. Okay, now we have a pumpkin. Next, we're going to look at this little tag so that we can add that attachment. This is Whisper White cardstock trimmed with the Chalk Talk framelits. And I like to start, when I'm doing multiple colors of ink, I like to start with the lighter colors. And this stamp set is the Choose Happiness set, which is not a Halloween set particularly, but it works great with this little bird. We're going to make it look more like a crow. So the leaves and stem image I'm going to ink up with the pumpkin pie cardstock, and we'll just stamp right there. Then the wood grain, we're going to do with the Tuxedo Black Memento stamp pad. And we'll just kind of do that fairly much in the center. And then we'll take the bird and ink that up with the same black ink. I'm going to try to put the bird at the top of this, but we're going to put the greeting on there, so if it's not exact, it won't matter. I don't want him exactly in the center. I want him offset a little bit. There he is. All right, the greeting that I used is Happy Halloween from the Good Greeting stamp set, which this set is a special promotion that actually ends this Friday. So to earn this set, you need to be a hostess with a $300 party, or you could order $300 yourself. Just $300 in sales will get you this for free, in addition to your other hostess benefits. All right, then this little banner I want to put right here, and I think I'll just use the Tombow again. I know it's going to go right there, so we'll just do that. Just show his feet a little bit, so there it is. The black banner piece right here, I just started out with a piece of basic black cardstock, and it is 1.5 by 3.5. And on one end, I want to do the little banner cut. So to do that, I'm just going to snip down the center and then cut from each corner to where I cut in the middle. And this is the easiest way for me to get that banner look. All right, then I want to layer this, and actually I did on the greeting tag, I did the same thing. I had a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock that was about 1/2 by 2.5. I stamped on it and then trimmed those ends. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive here where I know it will be over the black banner. Glue that there. And then I've got the 1/4" handheld punch. This is actually the one we sold a long time ago. There is a great new one in the catalog. A little punch there. And then I've got the Pear Pizzazz Chiron ribbon. I'll just thread that through, and I've cut about 5 inches of the ribbon. 5 or 6 inches. Looks more like 6. So just thread that through and then take a piece of linen thread and tie that. I love the linen thread. So a quick little knot and then trim all those ends. Get my ribbon scissors for this part. All right, then there's the top. I'm just going to take a glue dot, and I know that the tag will be all the way over, so anywhere will be all the way on the card is what I meant to say. So anywhere on there will attach to the pumpkin. All right, just kind of layering that there, and I put the ribbon kind of here in the middle so it doubles as the stem for the pumpkin and ribbon on that tag. There it is. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.